The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone. I am Garrett Weinzierl. He is Willie Dales Gregory. She is Jocelyn Moffat. And this is specifically the episode where I'm going to try very hard not to just be a giant freaking lore nerd slash fanboy slash giddy schoolgirl the entire episode.
But Garrett, that's what everyone expects.
Yeah.
They want you to be a crazy huge fanboy.
All right. Well, then fine. Screw it. I was going to try and stop after that and let you two talk, but I'm going to keep going and say, holy shit, it's the Frozen Throne! Woo! I'm so jazzed.
So is this everything you ever wanted out of a Lich King themed something?
Don't go there. We've seen 5 cards. We have seen 5 cards.
But you're getting an adventure, or you're getting single player adventure-like content.
Yep.
As well as 135 cards. So you don't even have to pick if you want it to be an adventure or an expansion. It's both.
I know. Well, which I was kind of. So all of this, I was kind of expecting it, right? Like we expected it to be a Lich King inspired expansion. By the way, what the hell is Return of the Lich King now? Because clearly this isn't it.
Yeah.
True.
Why did they get that?
I don't know.
Knights of the Frozen Throne, Return of the Lich King. Okay.
Maybe it is a WoW expansion, and Joss and I have been doubling down on wrong.
That would be kind of cool, I think.
Maybe.
Right? Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah, but
Unless it's like Return of the Lich King is like the next expansion, like not right after Legion, but like the next one.
Well, yeah, because it feels like, so WoW sidebar. It feels like we're supposed to now maybe go off and fight some more demons, not necessarily just be done with demons, right?
Yeah, but we're
Legion?
doing that in 7.3. And it's sounding like from what's on the PTR that it's kind of done after that. And
yeah? What about the Void Lords and stuff like that? We're just okay? Like they're fine? They'll bring another Legion at some point? I don't know. It seems like we should nip this in the bud.
Because the old gods are servants of the Void Lords, right? So yes. I think that next expansion is when we deal with the old gods and the Void Lords. Yeah.
Okay, and then the Void Lords. So where's the Lich King? That's what I'm saying. Where's the Lich King?
So then Lich King is after that.
So, and then he returns.
Yeah, so we like go and like deal with the Void Lords, and then we come back, and Bolvar's like, oh, I took over Azeroth while you were gone.
We finally made the universe safe, and then Azeroth.
Falls.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. All right.
If I can push up my glasses and just say, excuse me, Dills, you said demons, not Void Lords. Had you said Void Lords, Jocelyn and I would have agreed with you because
they're demons essentially.
We think that the next expansion is going to be N'Zoth. I'm not making
they're
fun
just
of any...
really powerful demons. Yeah. They're like the most powerful.
I'm not making fun of anyone, by the way. That's legitimately how I talked when I was like 13. Yeah.
All right, back to Hearthstone.
Yeah, back to Hearthstone. Oh, jeez, guys. Let's just do it. Screw it. I'm ripping the Band-Aid off and trying to wake up my iPad. It's time for
Good news, everyone.
So obviously, big news this week. Holy crap! New expansion of Hearthstone announced. Knights of the Frozen Throne is what is going to be, not Return of the Lich King, as if somehow you didn't already know it was called that, our WoW sidebar at the top there may have already spoiled for you. But yeah, it was announced yesterday during basically an 8-minute reveal that included the cinematic with Mr. Ben Brode and Jason Shays. It is coming next month, this August. They did not specify whether it was early, mid, late August, or... I mean, personally, I think it would have been funny had they not specified a specific August, so I could be sitting here making a joke about it. Could be August 2018, who knows? But it is...
Well, we do know we're getting card reveals starting on the 24th, right?
Yes.
Of this month. Yeah, which is weird. They announced it on July 6th, showed us 5 cards only, Less than 4% of the entire set.
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, for 2 weeks, nothing, and then card freeze.
Yeah, and that's
well,
weird.
that was the same thing that they did with Ungoro, right? Like, we got an announcement, and then we had to wait until St. Patrick's Day to get the reveals to start.
Maybe we'll get some more Abed videos in the meantime.
Yeah, did I know?
But if they start revealing on the 24th, then my guess is that we'll get it on, like, the 3rd or the 10th. Because they've been doing Thursday releases recently, weirdly, right? So
and I'm pulling
August
up my
3rd
calendar.
and 10th would be the Thursdays right after. And the 24th to the 3rd, that's a lot of days to release cards. So
yeah, that's almost 2. It's like 10 days. So I think I might be on board with you with the 10th, I think is probably good. Because I was going to say the 8th. The
3rd is like
just
really
Tuesday,
early.
But you're right. They've been doing Thursday releases. So I think the 3rd is really early. But if we look like how the release schedule of Ungoro went, like we had that, first week of April, starting from the 17th of March. So I think, early August isn't crazy. They seem to be compressing the drip feed, which makes me happy.
Yeah. The coolest thing is if it came out on the 1st of August, which is a Tuesday. Oh, my.
I think that's a little bit too
New
ambitious.
season, new cards all at once? Could it be? I don't know. It'd be awesome, but I don't think
the answer is no,
it would
cannot.
be awesome, but no.
No, it cannot be. It cannot be. That ain't going to happen. It's going to take us a little bit more time to chip through the ice of the throne. Got to get through there. But yeah, also, if you're out there in listener land and you're like, oh, what are you guys going to do for your card reviews? I don't know. If it's only 10 days, I can tell you this. It ain't happening within that window. So,
then we'll be doing like card highlights or something, I think. Stuff we're excited about and think will be good.
Sure.
Might need to pick some.
Maybe I'll do like an individual video or something, but it's just, it takes up way too much of the show.
Yeah.
So we have to do that many cards.
Yeah, maybe we pick 5 each per episode, however many episodes there are, depending on the speed that they're releasing it. We'll figure it out. But so until July 24th, no more cards. If you didn't watch the reveal, I suggest you go and do that. It is on YouTube. You don't have to scrub through a long Twitch VOD within the tournament that it was revealed within. But if you haven't seen it, Ben Brode and Jason Cheese were delightfully cheesy, and I would argue funnier than any of the Mulligan shorts.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
And I will say, at first I was a little bit like, I guess not necessarily confused, but like why the announcement is so late. But it's because they're doing HCT in China, so the stream starts super late. It totally worked. I ended up watching HCT till like 4 o'clock in the morning. Because
I did the same thing. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm tuning in for the announcement. And then it just kind of rolled into all the games, and I was like, all right.
The games were really good too.
And then they were, So I just stuck with it till like 4 a.m. and I was like, GG Blizzard. Yep, I get this now.
It makes a lot of sense. And you know what else too? I felt fatigue with the Ungoro meta the last tournament, and I suddenly did not this time because it felt like, well, now I know the stuff is coming pretty soon, so it's almost like nostalgia in the present.
It's
right?
a going away party.
Well, let's watch these decks. They're one last time. They're big hurrah. It was
hopefully.
It was great.
Hopefully, who knows? Maybe some will stick around and not change it barely a beat.
Some will probably stick around to a certain extent, but yeah, there's definitely going to be new stuff. It's just every time we get an expansion of this size, everything changes quite a bit. But yeah, we're probably still going to have aggro stuff. Pirates are not going away yet, so.
As long as mages and priests just having a handful of things, I don't know what's in them because everything's random, goes away or at least slows down a little bit, I'll be happy. That's the only thing I want to change. Which, by the way, if you're sitting here wondering if we're going to have a talk about the Quest Rogue change, I think we'll just save that for the regular Tuesday show coming in 4 days. This is all expansion talk today. But what was my next thought? I lost it. Let's just move on to some of the things that were announced. And, I didn't update the image overlay. It's going to be busted. It's not that bad. You've got some gray bars. Skype had an update, people, and it broke some things. If you're watching on the video. So, as I said, not many cards were revealed, but some key mechanics and the kind of tentpole new things coming in Knights of the Frozen Throne were announced. The biggest announcement of the addition of a new card type, hero cards, of which there will be 9 of them to the corresponding 9 heroes. All 9 heroes of Hearthstone. The original heroes, if you bought or were awarded alternate heroes through any means, they are just being left out. They're not getting any cool interaction. But all 9 original Hearthstone heroes are gonna die. They're dead in this expansion, and they are returning in Knights of the Frozen Throne as Death Knights and as legendary hero cards. So we are not getting a Death Knight class. We are getting these new legendary cards.
None of this is a surprise, by the way.
No, this is kind of how we thought they might do Death Knights, Monks, Demon Hunters, like all the classes that they've kind of left out.
Yeah, no, we've definitely, I think, called this multiple times on this show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other
I
thing,
think it's a great idea.
I do want to mention briefly that you said the original heroes only, because I saw a bunch of people bitching and moaning about how like they can't get a Death Knight Morgul or a Death Knight, and it's like that is a small nit to pick, guys. Like you if you purchase a new
undead
hero,
Murloc, like how cool would that be?
I was about to say,
it would be cool, but you got to understand, like then they'd have to make the card would have to be some sort of generic version, like Death
it would
Knight,
have to be like
Death Knight Warrior, and then whichever warrior you
Hunter
are
instead of
Yeah, exactly. And then they'd have to have the art for all of it. It's just not really feasible. So I think we just need to kind of cut them a little bit of slack here. You get to start as your cool Magni Bronzebeard, but then you will turn into Death Knight,
undead Garrosh.
Garrosh.
So,
or Dills, I will agree with
fine.
you. Like
it's gonna be fine.
Death Knight Illyria, whatever. Death Knight Magni, fine. Death Knight Medivh, don't give a crap. But no quarter will be given for no Death Knight Morgul. Okay, that is unacceptable. I want a Murloc Death Knight.
I just think it's like it's one of those things where you're just looking for stuff to complain about. And I had people like tweeting at me about this. I'm like, dude, I'm not even gonna respond to this one. It's like, how can we just never be happy, you guys? Can we just never be happy? I want to be happy. This is really cool. Like 9 new Death Knight. It's almost like, instead of getting 1 new Death Knight class, like we get 9 new classes almost. Like I think that's even better. So This is very exciting to me.
I'm pretty jazzed for it too. For me, I'm gonna immediately just dive into the art. The art for all 9 of these characters, and we haven't seen the card art. It's just the key art is out of this world. I want to cosplay as Jaina for the first time in my life.
I was gonna say Death Knight Jaina is like, oh. I love her.
For me, the one that takes the cake, though, is I think Death Knight Valyra. She somehow looks even cooler. I always thought Valyra looked pretty sweet. She looks just creepy and dark and evil, and it's badass. But all of them, great. I need a better look at Death Knight Thrall, though. I can't see his face. I need a better look at that. I kept thinking he was Gul'dan for a while, but yeah. Just across the board.
I was a little bit confused about who he was, too, because, I mean, Thrall is... And I'm going to say just an orc, but I don't mean like just. But Thrall's an orc, right? Rexar is like half orc, half ogre. He should be the big, huge guy in the background going...
He's a huncher. He hunches over.
Yeah,
more than Thrall does. Thrall's a stand-up, straight kind of guy. So
I guess.
It was weird. Death Knight Thrall doesn't quite... Like, I had to look at the shoulders, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a shaman, I guess.
I had to count all the other ones and like name them and be like, okay, I guess that's Thrall.
Yeah, he does kind of look like a big ogre in the background, right?
And he's got weird. Like a skull mask thing on, so it's just hard to tell. But then like Garrosh standing beside him with Gorehowl, like he's really obvious who he is.
Yeah, is Doomhammer at all like in his hand or anything?
I don't think so.
I don't see it.
Uther's the one with the hammer.
Yeah, weird.
Or like the big hammer you can see. Yeah.
Maybe
so Thrall just looks really like meh.
Maybe just
he also doesn't have his neck balls, so that's how you can always tell.
Oh no, he's missing his neck balls.
Which missed opportunity, by the way. You could just made him skulls.
Yes, exactly.
Like big round, big round skulls.
All right, well, now that I'm looking at it a little closer, I mean, you could see like the beard and stuff. I guess. But yeah, everybody else is way more discernible, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe they just thought, hey, he's in the back. He's in the very back. No one will really care. We won't spend too much time on him.
Poor Thrall.
Poor Thrall, indeed.
So he needs a rune hammer now, right? Instead of a doom hammer. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Thrall's the weirdest one. He's not wearing a mask. He's got face paint on. Now I'm looking at.
Is it? Oh, okay.
The one in favor.
I couldn't really tell.
He does have his neck balls, as Jocelyn put them, and they have Frostmourne runes on each ball.
Oh yeah, they're just kind of hidden underneath. Oh. Yeah, underneath his fur.
Yep. Yep. This would be great for the video audience if I was bringing this damn image up.
The video audience is loving this
I'm
right now.
literally looking at Dills' background right now. Trying to see it. There we go.
Here,
He's
just
right behind me.
I'm just gonna make this
right
full
behind
screen, and you know what? I can even zoom in on the orc Jesus in question. There you go. There's
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah,
Thrall.
zoomed in. You can see he does have his neck balls. I apologize.
Yep. No missing neck balls here. No, not at all. I think for those of us that have been steeped in Warcraft for a while, I think we're still getting used to new school Thrall with his, like shaman, like Jedi robe. I think I'm still not used to it. So even though I know that's what he looks like in Hearthstone, I still think of Thrall with his old school vanilla armor. So whatever the case is, the art is fantastic. As a fan of everything Northrend and Icecrown and Lich King and Arthas, this is great. This is so great. There is not a focus on Arthas, and I am totally fine with it because the focus, the route they did take it is less obvious, and it's this ridiculous fan service almost. It's like, hey, what if none of your favorite heroes from the Warcraft universe were Death Knights all of a sudden? By the way, none of these characters were Death Knights in lore, so this is extra super awesome.
Well, the whole point, right, of when we were fighting the Lich King, we had the grand tournament, and then we just fell right into his trap. He was like, "Sweet, you sent your most powerful heroes to me. I'm gonna turn you all into my special Death Knights." And in this case, it's like, what if you took all of the original badasses in Hearthstone and then turned them all into his personal Death Knights? Holy crap! So it was funny because on the announcement, Ben Bro just like. He's like, yeah, how are we going to make this fun and lighthearted for Hearthstone? He's like,
no.
Everybody dies.
Yeah, the second.
That's perfect.
I know it was scripted. I know it was cheesy. I thought it was perfect. The second he goes, everybody dies, I cheered. I was sitting next to Katie. I was like, yes! I was doing a Dills impression. It was fantastic. It was perfect. I was so happy that you're just like, yeah, it's the Lich King. What do you expect us to do? Freaking put some flowers around his neck? Lich King takes a Hawaiian vacation? I don't think so.
I was so worried about that. Like, literally right up until the point where he said, everybody dies.
Yep.
He's like, how are we going to make this fun and lighthearted? I was like, no, bro, don't do this to me, please. I can't take Arthas on the beach.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's still pretty lighthearted when you talk about jamming two beasts together and stuff when you become
Oh
Death.
my God, zombies?
I feel like they're taking a really morbid version of what lighthearted fun is, and I think it's kind of perfect for this. It all seems to. I'm curious to see how the story is going to play out when we do the adventure, because I wonder if they're going to address the fact that Arthas has turned all of these heroes into Death Knights during that, right? Because if this were to happen, this would be a pretty big deal. I mean,
yeah,
this would be the end of Azeroth, pretty much.
You're making me like what I want them to do, and this is like from I want to say Mean Streets and forward, so only a few expansions now, but this has been a really, I think, unsung like highlight of what Team 5 has been doing extremely right, which is their lore crafting, the storytelling that they're doing through a card game with little to no story, although somehow I would argue more story than Overwatch. Like they're doing a very good job, so much so that like I look at this and even when Mean Streets was announced, we got on the show and we're like, God, just give us this version of Gadgetzan in WoW. We want it. And now that this is announced, please, somebody, shake Chris Metzen until he comes out of retirement, and I want him to go and, like, pen a comic series about this alternate history a la, like, Marvel Zombies. Like,
what if the Lich King won?
Yeah.
You know, Uther tried to, Tyrion tried to get the might or whatever, right? Couldn't break out, and then we all died instead. We didn't come back and actually kill the Lich King. What if that happened?
Yeah, you go up to the Frozen Throne. Arthas still alive. He's still hanging out there, and like Jabba the Hutt, he's just got a frozen Tyrion hanging up on his wall right next to him.
Yeah,
Be wonderful.
and then a Bolvar still hanging up above, right? So
Volvar still hung up. Well, eventually, I think Volvar would just become a like a general Death Knight or something because he was trying he was trying to break him and turn him into a servant when we inconveniently intervened, and I think wrongly
he could
killed,
help him go out and get Thrall and get everybody. Like that would be great. I can totally see it.
I seriously want an alternate history, like a show, comic book, novel. I don't care of this. This is amazing. Sign me up.
So how does Sylvanas die again and become a Death Knight? I'm curious.
Well,
she's gonna kill her even harder this time.
Sadly, she's not a hero.
As a Death Knight.
Yeah, sadly, she's not a hero because that would be pretty sweet. But, anyways, hey, let's actually talk about the hero cards.
Yes.
So the way that they kind of backwards brought Death Knights in this game is there'll be a hero card for one of each class. It'll go into your deck like a card, has a mana cost. You will play it, and it will take the place of your hero. And when it does that, it will give you a certain amount of armor. It will trigger a Battlecry effect. If the one hero card we got to look at, it's a pretty strong Battlecry effect, and it will replace your hero power with an insane hero power. So we only got to see one hero card so far. It is Death Star Rexar, so this is the Hunter hero card, the Hunter Death Knight. I just want to start calling them. It's going to cost you 6 mana to cast this bad boy. It will give you 5 armor. It will also activate the Battle Cry, which deals 2 damage to all enemy minions currently in play. So just your hero power, but hitting minions, and all of them except your own, which is wonderful. And then the most important thing here is the hero power that it replaces your hero power with, which is called Build-A-Beast, which when you hover over it just reads Craft a Custom Zombeast. But what that actually does is allow the player to stitch together a zombie beast by discovering pieces of, as they put it, 2 former animal friends. So a beast that died along your game, you get to find pieces of both of them, discover it, and then it combines the stats, the mana cost, and the card text.
Yeah, so they did clarify this a little bit. So the first beast that you're going to be offered is going to be the one that has like all of the interesting kind of text. So think like Scavenging Hyena, where it's like, will gain plus blah, 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 blah. So any text that's
Hydra,
kind of,
whenever this minion takes damage, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anything that's like really complicated. And then your second minion that's offered to you is going to be either a vanilla minion or is going to be something with just a keyword. So think charge, taunt, stealth, that kind of stuff. So you won't get 2 super complicated things in one Zombeast.
But
because there's just no room on the card.
And they will both cost 5 or less. There's no You're not going to get any options. You will not get Savannah Highmane.
Because you can't just, it doesn't like play the beast onto the board. It goes into your hand, so you have to be able to then play it.
Yeah, you have to be able to. It can never cost more than 10, essentially.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
But can I
These
get
are
a
important.
Savannah Highmane and mix it with Stone Tusk Boar? Can I get
No,
a Savannah
they just
Stone
won't
Tusk?
offer you Savannah Highmane, period. Both of them will always cost less than 5. So you can get 2 5 costs and have a 10 cost at the end, but they're just throwing out the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cost. Right?
So
no King Crushes are going to happen.
Gotcha.
No the beasts. No, which is I think fine. I think it's a good way to kind of code it easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like the same pool both times, right? Because otherwise the pool would change based on your first one, right? And then things might get a little wonky.
Mm-hmm. So it will show you the art from whatever the first beast is that you pick. So unfortunately, there's no like background like.
Oh, they didn't make
all the
700 new pieces of art.
Exactly. There's no combination Zombeast crazy art. It just uses the art from the first card, and then it says Zombeast on all of them for the actual name of the minion.
I was not expecting that much original art, though.
Wouldn't it have been so cool if it was like Cho'Gall, though, where it took like the first half of the name of the first thing and the second half of the name of the next thing and just smooshed them together?
That would be pretty great. I would freaking love that. But this
that could probably be done. That would just be like an algorithm type of thing. So
exactly, it wouldn't make any sense.
it's something I could see them do, but like I wouldn't want them to not put out something this cool because it takes so long to actually make it work, right? Like I'm glad that they just did it anyway. Yeah. Because what if they were like, oh, we need art for everything, we got to change the names. Never mind, we just won't do it. That would suck. I'm just glad it's happening. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm.
So with the new hero power, does the hero power still cost 2? So you have to like
Yes.
pay 2 to
Yes.
create the beast.
Essentially, 2, like you paid 2 to draw a card. It's
Right.
like drawing a new card. So a lot of people are talking about how that's too slow and blah blah blah, and I agree. If you're talking about the current meta, that's definitely too slow. Because you're paying 6 mana for a consecrate plus 5 armor.
Well, not even a consecrate because it doesn't damage the
It
enemy
doesn't
hero.
hit the hero. Yeah, so a slightly weaker consecrate, and then to gain 5 armor. That's what you're initially paying for, and then every turn after that, you're paying 2 mana to create a threat,
to
though,
create
like
a card,
an
yeah.
actual threat. These are not going to be. These are going to be, I think, above average cards, just because putting lots of things onto one card and then getting to discover them, you're going to be able to pick good options. You're not going to end up with something terrible a lot of times, and some things are going to be broken. Stone Tusk Boar, Vicious Fledgling, everyone's talking about that one right off the bat. I mean, 4 mana, 4/4 that charges and adapts immediately.
Yep.
That's going to be crazy. There's going to be all sorts of like really broken stuff. So the way I look at it is, this card is terrible if you look at what Hunter has now, but if Hunter gets some more cool removal options, and has the ability to play kind of like a slower deck that just controls the board and then gets here, you then never run out of threats. Like you will never ever run out of threats again the rest of the game. So, you just have a deck that doesn't have any minions in it. You just control the board and live and live and live, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, well, you suddenly become kind of like Jade Hunter, where you're just like, can you kill my never-ending throng of threats? Like, it's going to be tough to deal with at that point. Even if it's 2 mana to draw them, it's 2 mana to draw a card is actually not that bad when you're going to get something pretty good.
Well,
every
and
time.
there's no real downside, right? Like we talked about how powerful the Warlock hero power is forever, right? Because you pay 2 mana and you get to draw a card, and that has the drawback of costing you health. This is just like create a threat. Ta-da!
And most of the time you'll be able to create a threat and play it that turn. So it's got the potential to be very strong. It's just going to have to live in a meta where the Hunter can actually get to that point without being out of life, And right now I think the meta would be too fast. So, if we're going to judge it based on the current meta, which is how a lot of people already are, then yeah, this looks bad, but I don't think we can.
There's still
Every class is gonna
130
be
cards
having
to
this,
come.
right? Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people are going to be playing to their Death Knight thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the meta feels like it should probably slow down a little bit, and with Quest Rogue going away, quote unquote, we probably will see less aggro in general. So I don't know.
Do we think
So
they?
one question. Sorry, just to clarify how this works, I don't know if you guys even know this, but it says 2 former animal friends. Do they have to come from your deck, or are they just beasts that are offered to you? Like, do they have to be played and die, and then okay?
Yep. They're and actually most Discover effects weight towards class stuff. Mike Dene was actually in someone's chat, I can't remember, and he said no, it'll be equal parts neutral and hunter beasts. So
okay, cool.
It's not going to be weighted towards hunter beasts.
Which I think is kind of good, because then, like everybody, you're always on kind of like an equal playing field. It's going to be the same random chance every time, as opposed to like, I built this like hunter Deathstalker deck, and then I can't play my minions or they don't die, and then my hero power is worthless. So this is better. This is better.
Yeah.
So
it just pulls from the entire pool of like, there's one
beasts,
pool of beasts that it uses for the first one and one for the second, and then it's just randomized from there.
Cool.
So with your concern about having to live long enough, I mean, you are getting 5 armor when you play this. Do we think all of the hero cards are going to cost the same and give 5 armor, or different amounts of armor depending on the hero?
Well, Mike Dene again in that
different.
chat said 5 armor. Like your hero card will give 5 armor. He just kind of said that. So I have a feeling that they all give 5 armor.
Maybe that's just because that's the one that's been revealed so far, because in the actual reveal, I think Brode said you gain some armor.
They did say, like, they didn't specify there, but then he said you gain 5 armor, and he was just saying hero cards will gain you 5 armor. So I thought maybe he was indicating that they all are similar. The quests were all fairly similar. If you look at them where, they all cost 1, and then generally the reward always costs 5, right? So I could see them trying to homogenize them a little bit in that way, so that. But I think you shouldn't have to, because maybe some are going to be slightly more powerful, so maybe they should cost a little bit more. Maybe some, we'll see. But they all essentially do something when they come out. Battle cry, gain armor, and then change hero power. We know that. That we know.
I hope that they didn't just homogenize the cost. Like, I hope they looked at what cool effect they wanted to do in each class and then said, okay, how much is this worth? Like, what happens if we bring it out on turn 3? What happens if we bring it out on turn 8? Like, and I hope they played around with that kind of stuff, as opposed to just saying, turn 6, everyone gets a Death Knight.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If it's balanced so that it's on turn 6, I could see it being better to have it always on turn 6 so that one guy is not turning into a Death Knight way earlier than the other guy, and the effect is super swingy that way. And then they have like some weak effect. Like I wouldn't.
Well, and that's the thing. Like if it was like 3 mana, then it would be a weaker effect.
It would be a weak effect, but then it wouldn't be as fun, right? Like don't you want? I think they should all be fun, big effects, and that did kind of work with quests. One problem is then later on when you're trying to balance them. I know that they talked about the quest rogue nerf. They went they did it the way they did it, so that it stayed consistent with the other quests, right? And so it does kind of limit your ability later on if you do need to alter one of these, which will likely happen. I mean, let's be honest. If every single one of the classes has a hero card, some of them are going to be playable and some will not. It's going to be similar to the quest thing, I'm sure. So we'll see which ones are really good and which ones aren't. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, like where you'd have to see all 9 of them to really make that call, like which version is better. Having all of them slightly different and tweaked with mana numbers and armor numbers, or having them all like similar so that it feels, the same. Like it feels like they all have the same type of power level. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, Garrett, like you mentioned with the whole, are we even going to live long enough to play these heroes? I think the next thing we're going to talk about, the new keyword lifesteal. I think everyone's going to have a better shot at living longer from what it seems like.
Well,
unless they only give it to priests and paladins, which would be weird, but
well, it's hard to make that call having seen only 5 cards, so it's just, I don't know.
But yeah, just the chance to have things built into the game, whether they're spells or whether they're minions that are going to be able to do damage and heal your hero at the same time. People are going to live a whole lot longer, I think.
Yeah. But what do you, before we move away from hero cards, what the heck do we think the replacement hero powers are going to be for the other heroes? Any guesses?
Oh, dude, I literally don't even know.
After seeing the Hunter one, I'm not going to even venture a prediction, honestly.
This is on board, like, on the same level with, like, new Elise, where they were like, you're just going to get a pack, and everyone is like, what? Like, you're going to get to play 2 beasts together. What?
I really hope that we don't get Mage picking 2 random spells and jamming together.
God. That would be so bad.
I may quit this game. I may.
I really hope that
may end this for me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's that much I can say for sure. But I don't know. I feel like this first one does set a little bit of a precedence that we might see stuff like this.
I wonder if it's going to be like, because everything's all icy and stuff, if it's going to be like, discover a spell and then freeze the target.
Yeah. Yeah. That might actually be a thing. Like, discover a spell and add freeze to it.
That seems a little
thing. Yeah.
It seems a little tame.
Yeah.
I said it seems a little tame. Are you guys having audio issues? Because you guys, I'm getting some ducking when both of you are trying to talk at the same time.
Yep.
Skype. It's not happening on my end, actually. So I don't know.
I think it's your lack of headphones again. So I'm also getting that weird pop that we had like 6 months ago. But
I do think that we're gonna see some more stitching of things. I wouldn't mind seeing somebody being able to like draw undead cards. We'll probably see something demon focused with warlocks, I would guess. They're gonna be themed pretty hard. I'm just excited because, like I said, this isn't just getting 1 new class. This is like getting 9.
Yeah, I wonder if like the priest or the paladin might be able to maybe like res stuff, like just have a constant resurrect effect, so you can just hit your hero power and like res a friendly minion that died that game or something.
Yeah, and Anduin's looking real shadowy, so I'm curious.
He's so shadowy.
like because we already have shadow form, so it's obviously not going to be that. But looking at it, it's like there's got to be a shadow bend to it, right? But as far as Hearthstone's concerned, whoa, what the? Y'all still there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird audio shit's happening. Anyways, lost my train of thought. I don't know how they make
Shadow Priest.
Yeah,
Woo!
I don't know how they make Shadow like cool and heroic and whatnot, but something's got to happen there.
Yeah, and I think that just from looking at some of this stuff and the general kind of theme of this expansion, I think probably the priest quest is going to get a lot better, because I think, like they said, we're bringing back Deathrattle, which is great. So I think that quest priest is going to have a lot of different options for builds after this expansion releases, which I'm excited about, because I think, more variety in the quests, like in what quests are being played, is good. I want to see more stuff happen, and I don't know, maybe Quest Hunter will be a thing. I don't know. The more tools Hunter gets,
well, actually, when we get to the 2-mana card, I was going to talk about that. I think there might be something there.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. We already mentioned Lifesteal a bit. Those are the only other. Some of the few cards we did see were Lifesteal. We saw both a minion and a spell. So let's talk about those real fast. We saw Spirit Lash, which is a new 2-mana common priest spell. On it is Lifesteal. Deal 1 damage to all minions. We kind of alluded to it before, but we didn't explicitly say it. Lifesteal is a new keyword. It is an effect we have seen in the game multiple times now, though. It's just that now we're getting a dedicated keyword as opposed to the card having written on it any damage, this minion or spell deals, heal that much, essentially.
And it has a cute little pink heart on it.
Yeah, it does. I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought that was super hilarious. It's a little broken pink heart.
Yeah, a broken pink heart, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's a priest card we got to take a look at. Was this the 2-mana card you were talking about, or you were talking about Prince Keleseth?
No,
we're
I was talking about
the
Prince
legendary.
Keleseth.
All right.
Yeah, Spirit Lash seems like it could actually be very useful, but we're going to have to see where we're at. Priest does have a problem in the early game, just dealing a damage to everything. So, that's why they play Wild Pyromancer. So this maybe could be in the place of that. Imagine a world where they play a bunch of pirates, and instead of having to play a card and then a spell, you just play the spell, and you gain some life and kill a bunch of stuff. Could be pretty useful. We'll see. Also, the other thing about this is, does the lifesteal happen individually? So imagine, when you whirlwind, right? And then there's a bunch of things that proc off of the whirlwind. So your berserker goes up a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Or a patron.
We have to see the animation. Do you gain all that health at once, or do you gain health each time it deals the damage, making Light Wardens get real big?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that yet.
That's an interesting interaction. Yeah, that'll be really important.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Chillblade Champion was the other lifesteal minion we got to look at. This is a 4-mana 3/2 common paladin minion with charge and lifesteal. So 4 mana for a 3/2 with charge, but you get to heal off any damage that this guy does. And it's in paladin, so just keep in mind minion buffs, many of them.
Yep. This card, again, it's if Control Paladin is good and needs to heal, I don't know. You can heal in Paladin already pretty good, right? So, but having a 3/2 that charges and then heals you, it's kind of like it's a Hammer of Wrath without the draw. Instead, it's like a Hammer of Wrath with a little heal, almost, right? So you
because you get the 3 damage right away. Yeah,
you deal 3 damage somewhere. And then you also heal a little bit. So it depends. And Hammer of Wrath isn't played, really. So, and also this can't go over the top of taunts. So I don't know. They already have so many ways to heal. I'm not sure that Paladin is going to use this card very much, but we have heard that all the classes are going to get some lifesteal cards of some sort, and that's going to help the classes that need the help. Paladin wasn't really one of them. So
yeah.
That's true. Although you can't, outside of spell power, increase the damage of Hammer of Wrath with a Blessing of Kings or something like that. So
that's true. You could Blessing it, you could Blessing a Might it, you could do all sorts of stuff to it. So anything that charges can always do something at some point. Yeah.
There's the potential for something.
It'll be a good arena card, I think.
Yeah. The potential for something insane. People in chat room yelling, Dino size! Yeah, okay, have fun with that. Good luck.
So, Calamari in chat says, Hammer of Wrath doesn't give a 3/2 body, though. Yeah, but if you use Hammer of Wrath to kill something, then if you use this to kill something, it'd be the same effect. The body would die, right? Yeah. There's very rarely would you use it to kill something with 1 attack.
Right. In Hearthstone, most of our 3/2s get played on turn 2, not turn 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
chances
If
of
you're
this
playing
thing
this on turn
surviving.
4, you're probably running it into something that's going to kill it. So
Yeah. Yeah, but this is also the difficulty of trying to have an intelligent conversation when 5 of
Over 5
135 cards,
yeah, with 5 cards out.
out of 135. We don't know. Who the hell knows? Maybe Paladin gets some bizarre charge synergy that we're not expecting, or a lifesteal synergy. We don't know. Now that
By
is
the way, hand buffing could be very cool with this card though too. We don't, if it's a 4 mana, 5/4 with charge after getting buffed twice. Ooh, now you're talking.
I could get behind that. I'd buy that. And then we got 2 more cards. We're just going to lead right up to what Dill's actually wanted to talk about and save it for last and start with Shallow Gravedigger, a 3-mana, 3/1 rare neutral minion with a Deathrattle that reads, add a random Deathrattle minion to your hand. It's also worth mentioning here that Deathrattle was brought up in the reveal stream, and they said that in Frozen Throne, expect to see a big resurgence of Deathrattle as part of the theme of the set.
Mm-hmm. Which is very cool. So we'll probably see N'Zoth decks get much stronger. Also, Quest Priest will likely get much stronger. So that's kind of cool. And this card doesn't seem that good,
No.
but adding cards to your hand is generally okay. And if there's a lot of powerful Deathrattle effects, I could see it being a good arena card just because it gives you gas, right? But a 3-mana 3/1 is pretty terrible. There's a 3-mana 3/1 leper gnome thing, right? That never got played ever. So, it's a big tempo loss to pay 3 mana for a 3/1.
Yeah, at least if this does not get silenced, it does give you something back for the trouble into your hand. But again, we'll have to see.
I mean, it's okay. I could see it if you were doing some sort of a, well, I guess at this point it's Kazakus Priest with the quests, and then you just need more Deathrattle minions. But I don't think you do, and if they're adding a whole bunch, there's probably going to be some much better ones than this. But this is like the one where they can show it, and you're like, yeah, that card's fair.
Yeah, but
it's not OP.
If Deathrattle's part of the theme, and it is 2017, I think all we're going to see are balanced Deathrattle cards. We've been spoiled because we lived through Naxxramas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, and I hope that we don't see a bunch of OP stuff. I would like to. I really like what's going on in the meta now because there isn't that much OP stuff. There isn't cards that are just absolutely broken. I mean, yes, there's Primordial Glyph and stuff like that, but we're not living in the era of Undertaker anymore, right? We're not living in those days where there's just this one thing that does something that's so disgusting. And that's how I'd like to see the game continue to evolve. And right now, every card that they've showed us is like we're all judging them as not that good because we are like so used to finding these incredibly broken cards and then going, okay, those ones get played. These ones might see play when there's not a lot of options, right, in those slots. So we'll see.
Yeah, everything is part of a plan right now. There's not like one thing that happens or something that happens at the very beginning. We're like, oh crap, okay, this is going poorly. It's all a build up. It's all a synergy, which is funny because that's what we more or less thought Quest was going to do. And even though Quest didn't really pan out, it's still how the meta more or less has taken shape. Which can we? When do we stop complimenting Ungoro? I'm a little sick of it.
It's really good.
It was a good expansion. It was a damn fine expansion. All right, finally, the card Dill's alluded to about 20 minutes ago, and I've been being a jerk and not letting him talk about Prince Keleseth, 2-mana, 2/2 legendary neutral minion. I'm just happy to see one of the princes in here. I wonder if they're all in here, as well as the Blood Queen. That would be dope. Anyway.
Well, Blood Queen, I'm 99% sure. She's a boss, isn't she, in the single-player content?
I believe the art did show up in... Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And
so
the
she's
three
in
princes themselves are another boss too, right? So.
Oh, sweet. Okay, that was going to be my follow-up question. I didn't notice that. So if that's true, then hooray. Bosses can also be cards, which leaves out hope for a Lich King card.
So wait, Keleseth though wasn't he his own thing? Were they all like bosses in 5-mans too? And then we
killed
together?
them, and then they were resurrected by the Blood Queen in the Blood Wing of ICC, and we fought all three of them at the same time.
That's right. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look this up. Ah, yes, he was in Utgard Keep. Oh yeah, he was the dude who ice blocked one of you, and then you had to break out of it. Yeah.
All of the we fought the can we just go? I know it's against the terms of service. Can we go like roll on a Lich King private server because that sounds really fun right about now. Sorry,
I'm gonna go run through Icecrown Citadel at some point soon.
Yeah, we just have to wait for time walking.
Ooh.
We'll take one of our next streams. We'll just take a day off, and instead of playing Hearthstone, the three of us will just go into ICC and one-shot everything.
Yeah.
We totally should, just to show everyone.
See if we can get the mount.
Ooh, yeah.
Probably
not though. It's like 0.00001% chance.
Yeah. There was like a good 2-month stint where I went every week and still never got it, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from this now. And by take a break, I mean never go back. Anyway, let's back to Prince Keleseth. 2 mana, 2/2, legendary neutral minion. He's got a battle cry on him. If your deck has no 2-cost cards, give all minions in your deck +1/+1.
So yeah, this card looks like hot garbage. Right, when you just look at it, you're just like, why? First of all, why would I ever make a deck that has no two drops in it? That's pretty terrible.
Here it is, Dills. Here it is. You do an arena draft. It's the worst arena draft ever. You just never found a 2-drop, and at 30 out of 30, Prince Keleseth
this card
comes
pops up.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, damn, perfect. Thank you, arena gods.
Well, remember the card Mistweaver?
Yes.
So that card,
I don't
you
actually.
paid 6 mana for a 4/4. It buffed your hand as well, right? Not just your deck. So it basically buffed everything that was ever going to come out again. And that card never ever saw play. I don't necessarily see this one seeing play, but if it were, there's 2 places where I could see it possibly happening. And one is Quest Hunter. So you play no 2-drops, except for this. You play tons of 1-drops, right? And then when you hold off on playing this until you play the Queen. Oh no. Queen Carnassa? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm gonna get in here before emails are sent. It was Miss Caller, not Miss Weaver.
Miss Caller.
I knew the one you were talking about.
I did not know.
Everyone knew what I was talking about.
I was typing in Miss Weaver to Google. I'm like, I do not remember this card, and all this fan art Hearthstone cards that come up.
Miss
like,
Weaver is the healer monk.
Is the monk? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Miss Caller was the card. Yeah. But anyway, so you then wait until you play Carnassa, and it puts 15 little 1-drop dudes into your deck. Then you buff them all with this card, and then every time you draw them, instead of them being 3/2s that draw a card, they're all 4/3s that draw a card, and it's absolutely disgusting, right? So maybe there's something there.
Right, because this doesn't seem to... This is a battle cry, right? It's not a persistent aura or anything, so the minions have to be in your deck. You can't just do it on turn 2 in Quest Hunter, and then it's going to buff all the minions that get put in your deck as a result of the quest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta hold on.
And then
to
the
them.
other place I could potentially see you doing something like this is maybe a rogue deck where you don't run 2-drops because you dagger on 2 every time. So the idea is going to be more that you're like some sort of a late game tempo-y, combo-y type deck that has some sort of combo where if your dude is buffed +1/+1, then that ends up making it so you do more damage at the end somehow. Again, it's like you just have to have a deck where you're okay always skipping turn 2. And in a hunter deck full of 1-drops, you're going to always just play 2 1-drops, right, on turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And in a rogue deck, you can dagger on turn 2, and it doesn't matter. The problem is it just says 2-cost cards, which means you won't be able to put in Eviscerate and Sap, which is like... So, I don't know.
Well, there might be, chat room mentioned, there might be something there with Hemet Jungle Hunter, where... Maybe this is part of and that could work for Rogue, because that's a class that has traditionally had very specific combos that they want to pull off, and they get there by drawing.
Yeah, well, so what you'd have to do, though, is you'd have to have this card already in your hand. Then you'd have to draw Hemet. Then you play Hemet before this to kill all the 2-drops in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Then you play this. It just seems like that's asking a lot. So I think the only possible place for this, realistically, would be a Quest Hunter. But we shall see. There's more cards coming. We don't know.
You never know, yeah.
I really like that idea of holding on to the prince on the Quest Hunter. That sounds super rad and something I want to try to make work.
Yeah, and then the Dinomancy never really worked that well for the Quest Hunter, so you don't really run that. There's no more quick shot. Like, what do you really need in the 2 slot for Quest Hunter?
Yeah.
Maybe you want hyenas, but I think you can live without them. So.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Or you could just mulligan really hard for them, because it says if your deck has no 2-cost cards, so if they're in your hand, they're fine, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, the thing though is if you're going to run this card, you probably never want to have to Reno people's experimented
right?
with.
Yeah.
But in the end, everybody decided it was better to just never have Reno be drawn and not be active. So
Yeah.
it just kind of went away. I would imagine the same thing will happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all the cards that they announced for now. We haven't talked too much about single player, so to reiterate from earlier in the year, if you were not paying attention, the adventures are gone, but we are getting single player missions in expansions from now on, starting with this one, the Frozen Throne expansion. So we are getting single player missions. There are going to be 3 wings. Lich King has been confirmed as the final boss, unless we have some super secret like final boss like we have had for a few adventures. We are going to be awarded 1 expansion pack, like 1 expansion card pack per wing, so we'll get 3 free card packs in total. There will also be a prologue mission that they teased that had an image of the Lich King, so it looks like, I don't know, kind of like Karazhan, where you fought Prince Malchezaar at the beginning in the prologue, and then again at the end. But once you do that, you will be awarded 1 random legendary Death Knight hero card. So we are all going to get one of these.
1 free legendary.
Yeah, which is rad.
So there's one small thing about this which we should bring up, and because I don't know the answer to it yet. But if this one random legendary doesn't operate under the same rules as the new pack opening legendary rules, then you would want to get your random legendary before you open the packs, because you could potentially get a duplicate if you open the packs first, and this doesn't follow those rules. However, I asked Ben Brode on Twitter. He hasn't responded yet. But if I were coding Hearthstone, if I were in charge of it, and I made code that said, if you open a legendary, it is not a duplicate, I would apply it to anywhere you get a legendary card. So I'm hoping that they've applied it there as well. And we'll see.
But until we get an answer on that, and if somehow we don't get an answer before the release, maybe do the prologue first.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking. Oh, there was a dev on Reddit that says it won't happen no matter how you get a legendary. Boom. Thank you, guys. I knew chat would know. But anyway, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I had a little conversation on Reddit where I was like, I don't think you'll get a duplicate legendary no matter which order you do them. And the guy was like, wrong. You can definitely get a duplicate if you do it the wrong way. So, okay, good. Yeah, because that makes sense. If you were to code that, why would you have the code read 2 different ways no matter how the legendary... Like, I would have it say, if legendary, then check
duplicate
collection.
Yeah.
Give a legendary that's not in collection, right? I would never have it like say that in one place and not in another place. So
yeah,
good to know. Thanks, chat.
Yep. So there you go. There's all that, and if you haven't been to the official Knights of the Frozen Throne website, first of all, damn good job, web team. Beautiful website. Oh my god. And I'm just now realizing there is a carousel of bosses at the bottom. I didn't know I could click on these and see more.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's Blood Queen Lanethel. There is Professor Petricide, Syndragosa, Deathbringer Sourfang, Lord Marigar, Lady Deathwhisper, and the Lich King, all confirmed as bosses in this what do we call it? It's not an adventure, in this expansion's single player content. Let's put it that way. Which excites the hell out of me. This is so they just went straight for the raid. They went straight for the raid, and that makes me so happy because it's one of my favorite things ever. That and Ulduar. So hopefully Ulduar is next, and we can all just get it out of our systems and move on to new things.
I don't think Ulduar is next, because the only clue that we have is a bag of coins, and that doesn't scream Ulduar.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's just the auction house expansion.
Yeah.
There's actually no cards. They're just going to finally give us a way to trade and buy cards. It took that much work.
Did we hear, is there a heroic version of these wings, or is it just...
I don't believe so. I think they said there's one...
I know they said it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think they just said there's one difficulty, and it's just harder.
It's
because
just really
it
hard.
rewards card packs, not specific cards. So they made adventures easy so that people could complete them and get the cards.
But now it's just packs.
But now it's packed, so it's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I don't mind either way. I was just curious if we'd heard that. There's a lot of information still kind of floating around out there. Like, I just found the dev response about, the non-duplicate legendaries. And this is why I wish that they would just put everything in one place, so I didn't have to search Reddit or Twitter or wherever to figure this stuff out.
That's fine. We have a chat room of awesome
Internet readers.
I'm theming this. I don't actually think you're this way. Undead minions. I'm theming it for today's episode. We have an army of undead minions to do our bidding. In this case, inform us of things that we did not know.
We're the lucky ones.
We are. We are the Lich King
Other
queens.
people out there just don't know. Just don't ever know anything.
Yes, it's quite wonderful. We do have we were going to do just an all expansion episode today, and we're going to stick with that, but we do have an email that's specifically about the expansion announcement. But before we get to that, we do have patrons to thank. Those of you over patreon.com/TAC supporting us right now, we cannot thank you all enough. The support helps us in what has, strangely and very luckily for us, become our jobs, this show and other content creation. So supporting us on Patreon is, it helps us have a paycheck and buy things like, I don't know, food and pay rent. So we very much appreciate that. This episode, we wanted to thank Jason C., Mark H., Ryan G., J.S., and Jack the Knife. I'm
totally
calling
his given name.
I'm calling into question again that last name. I don't know about that one. But anyways, thank you all so very much for your support. And if you enjoy The Angry Chicken, check out patreon.com/TAC to support us and get some extra content on the side. Now let's take an email and wrap this special Friday edition of TAC up.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com, and this email comes to us from DEFCON 3 moving to DEFCON 2. This is literally how this person signed their email. And we'll just call them D. D writes in and says, "Hi, crazed cluckers. I wanted to write in with a quick question about the announcement of Knights of the Frozen Throne. Ben repeatedly mentioned that at the end you will find the Lich King. However, he pointedly never said the name Arthas, despite the multiple opportunities to name the Lich King. This stuck out to me because he specifically named other bosses but not Arthas. As a fellow Arthas fan, I wanted to know Garrett's DEFCON level, 1 as severe, 5 as relaxed, of concern that Arthas will not be the Lich King in the expansion." I have had so many people tweeting at me, and I'm even looking at my feed right now, and at Andrew Tarnowski is asking, given how coy the language in the announcement was, placing any bets on who Hearthstone's Lich King is. So yeah, if you just watched the announcement, I was at DEFCON 1. I was like, name him! Say the name! Say it! Like, I was just full on Batman. Just swear to me, brood. Because they never mentioned it, they never showed him, and that's I'm at DEFCON 1 for the Lich King being a card, because I feel like if the Lich King's going to be a card, that's something you lead your announcement with, but I don't even know anymore, because this is also the same team that when they do announce an expansion only shows us 5 cards. So who knows? I strongly disagree with their marketing department basically all the time, whether it's the Mulligan's shorts or the lackluster amount of things they show when they announce expansions. I don't get it. But it's Arthas. It's 100% Arthas. I don't understand why they don't call it Arthas, but if you go on the website where they're showing all of the bosses from the single-player missions, front row center, Arthas Lich King. No other Lich King looked like that. Bolvar doesn't look a damn thing like that. He's practically naked, for crying out loud. And he's red. Also, he's holding Frostmourne. If you know your Lich King lore, Frostmourne's not around anymore. It was shattered, and a million Death Knights in Legion are just running around with the pieces of it. So, yeah, it's Arthas Lich King. I did find it so strange that they didn't say Arthas. And then on top of all that, the cherry on top is like, this is Wrath of the Lich King era Icecrown. These bosses are straight from that timeline.
Yeah. And so I wonder if it's just as simple as in the actual raid, the boss was called the Lich King, right? The boss wasn't called Arthas.
Yeah, he was called the Lich King.
He was just the Lich King. Not just the Lich King. He was the Lich King.
It was his title, just the Lich King. He had to do an achievement to get it, but yeah, no. But I mean, it's still Arthas. They're kind of I was thinking about it earlier today. And I love that Hearthstone has put me into a place where I get to think about Arthas again and it makes sense, and it's not just like creepy. And I still need to get that restraining order removed from Mr. Arthas Menethil. But it's like Arthas and the Lich King are one and the same, whereas, I don't know, like in other fiction, like Star Wars, like Darth Vader is very separate from Anakin up until the very end. But like through Wrath of the Lich King and in Warcraft 3, the Lich King and Arthas were one and the same, and they were very intertwined, and the history of one very much informed the present of the other. So I still do find it strange that at no point in no writing and like not even a slip up, like no one's at Arthas. I just find it very strange because it's clearly Arthas.
Yeah,
Even
the
has
artwork is definitely
the white
Arthas.
hair. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not Bolvar, and it sure as hell isn't an orc, which was
Yeah,
the
I was
previous
gonna say
Lich
it's not
King.
Ner'zhul.
It's
so.
not Ner'zhul. Yeah. So it is Arthas confirmed.
Well,
even though
yeah,
they didn't
because
say it.
Ner'zhul predates the helm, right? Because Ner'zhul's spirit was like infused into the helm that became Arthas's Lich King helm.
I am actually fuzzy on what came first, the Ner'zhul or the helm. I don't know, but whatever the case is, it's definitely Arthas. But I am with you, fellow Arthas fans. During the announcement itself, which I watched after the fact because I was recording Into the Nexus, I was screaming at my television.
I know. I saw you guys doing Into the Nexus, and I was like, "Does Garrett know what time it is?"
It's time to do my regularly scheduled podcast because that's my job. So whatever the case is, yeah, it's Arthas. It's totally
It's
freaking
Arthas. It's totally Arthas.
I'm just worried that he's not a card, and if he turns out to be a card,
I think he has to be, right?
I would be surprised if he's not a card. My prediction is he'll be a neutral legendary of some sort.
yeah.
Because he's not going to be one of the hero cards, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So
What if,
I don't
like,
think you give him to just Paladin. I think you give him to everybody.
But what if there's like a paladin weapon that's Frostborn that you equip and turns you into Arthas the same way like you got turned into Rag or something like that, or Jiraxxus? Could happen.
Maybe.
That's possible. I mean,
But-
if it was going to be class specific, it would have to be Paladin, right?
Yes, yeah, it would have to be.
But
But then Paladin would get two things, right? They would get their hero card as well
I
as
think
their
we're going to see a
turn to
hero card and a legendary for each class again. I think.
Yeah.
I don't have any confirmation of that, but I think we're going to see
'cause
that. Then we're going to
hero
see like
classes
5
are
neutral
simply the
legendaries
quests,
or something
right?
again. And I would hope that they just make Arthas a neutral legendary so everybody can just play him in whatever he is. But if he is something that turns you into something, then yeah, you probably have to limit him to one class so that it doesn't get ridiculous in other classes. But I wouldn't mind seeing him being some sort of Medivh style thing where you get a Frostmourne and then Frostmourne does something kind of cool. And like maybe like every time you do something, it plays an undead ghoul or whatever that comes out and does something.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing could be cool. He could also be sort of an Onyxia style card where he summons his army
Fills
of
the
dead
bullet-
with him. So there's definitely things that could happen with him. But I just hope neutral because I don't want to be. Because imagine if you're playing Hearthstone and you're like, well, I have to play Paladin because I want to play with Arthas. He's just too popular. He's the coolest kid in school, and everyone wants to play.
Everyone wants to play with Arthas.
Yeah.
all right, final concern. Throw all that out the window. What if he's a bad card?
Well,
Then he's just going to be Illidan 2.0 and we're going to cry.
See, Medivh was a bad card for a while, and then things changed. So
Yep.
if he gives you a weapon of some sort,
Now he's a
it's
good
like another
card
neutral
and a-
weapon. I can't see it being bad forever.
Now now Medivh is a good card and an archetype I want to burn at the stake. So. All right.
Oh, chat room saying, what if you reshuffle your graveyard back into your deck?
that
that
would
would
be
be awesome.
insanity.
Yeah, like that.
It'd be such insanity. But it's fine. Whatever. I personally welcome a future where we all include Arthas in our deck.
Or they didn't say they're going to give us undead cards. Damn. If there was undead cards, that would be the coolest thing. He'd be like an undead version of N'Zoth, right?
Yeah.
He'd resurrect
Oh,
all of your
resurrect all your
previously played
ghouls.
undead
Yeah.
cards. As you know,
That would be
your
really
Death
cool
Knights.
if there was
Yeah.
a. So, have we seen of the cards that we've seen? None of them would probably be flagged as undead, right?
If that was going to be a thing, they would have announced it. They announced
Yeah.
Elementals.
Yeah, they would have announced it because they only announced Lifesteal but like Shallow
Yeah, I
Grave
guess.
Digger
Yeah,
would
so
be,
the
right?
Gravedigger. Yeah, she's. Oh, and I guess Chillblade Champion. He's the Death Knight looking Nomi guy, right? So he's.
How about this? He kills all of your opponent's minions and turns them into ghouls or something like that, some predetermined undead thing. So if you like play him like he's like Deathwing, but instead of, you know what I mean, he like kills everything and then summons them back as little
On your
1/1s.
side?
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
and then
that.
obviously he's not a 12/12, but
Yeah.
You're right.
he's like a 6/6 or a 7/7 or something. It costs 10.
I like it.
Ooh, I want him to just be immune because you shouldn't be able to kill him in Hearthstone. You just throw him out there. He has no stats. He just sits there frozen on the throne, but he has some insane effect.
Oh, that could be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's just sitting in the throne, just being awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
There's
But-
lots of
Which
things you can do with
there's
Arthas. That would be
Yeah,
very.
and I'm sure I hope at some point once they announce whatever they're doing with Arthas, even if he's only a boss, which would be, sad face. I really hope they just do a stream where they're like, okay, guys, here is everything we tried before we came up with the final version of Arthas, because I feel like that would just be a super awesome like dev insights video, because I want to hear about all of the concepts they considered, because I feel like there's got to be a really fine line between making him playable and super OP, because a lot of the things that we've kind of spitballed here are just like, that would be insane. That would be insane.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, how about
I
this?
hope
He
they.
comes out and then he plays Defile on the other side of the board.
When it starts one spot big and then grows to
And then
two
it just
spots
grows
big,
and it like deals
then
1
3
damage a
spots
turn
big.
to like whatever minions are inside of it.
and
Yeah.
then it reaches 7 spot
Until
big.
you kill him and then Defile goes away. Something
Yeah.
like that.
How about this? It just breaks off a piece of the board and you can only play 5 minions total now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he just cuts off like the left and right side of the board and there's only space for 5 minions.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just ripping things straight out of the boss fight, what if a Valkyr just comes in, picks up one of your minions, and drops it the shit off the board?
Exactly. And you
I
have
have
to
no
kill the
idea
Valkyrie
how
before
this-
your minion dies.
I have no
Starts
idea how
carrying
this
your
boss
minion.
fight actually works.
All of those things
I've
are boss
never
mechanics.
I've always just gone in and one-shot the Lich King, so I have no idea how
Well,
this really works.
all of the things we just mentioned are mechanics from the fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of it was one of the best fights ever, man. It
was
was
so good.
so cool.
They knocked it out of the damn park. It was fantastic. But anyways, yeah, I think it's going to bring us to the end of this
Yep.
episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it wasn't a horrible wait that it was like later this week. We did one at Nerdtacular, and the voice or the sound quality was awful. I know I was like, we were like, oh no, there's a couple audio problems today. It was nothing compared to this. Like, imagine Jocelyn and I put kazoos in our mouth and then a megaphone in front of that kazoo and then just screamed into the kazoo. That's what it sounded like. I did my best to clean it up. It is up over at youtube.com/amovetv if you do want to see it, but I just felt bad putting it up on the feed and just being like, here's your episode for the week, guys. So we didn't charge patrons for it. It's not on the feed. It is on the YouTube if you really do want to see it, which is a shame because it was hilarious. I had so much fun riffing on mulligans with Joss and Justin Robert Young and Terpster, and sadly Dillsy were not at Nerdtacular. Which, by the way, dude, you and Kyle should have been summoned multiple times if the Beetlejuice rules work, because the amount of times I was stopped in hallways or at the reception or after the show and was asked, hey, where's Dills? Hey, where's Kyle? Hey, where's Dills? Hey, where's Kyle? You should have just appeared in a black and white referee suit looking like Michael Keaton.
I wish it worked that way.
Only that if only it were that easy. But yeah, I was sad not to make it, but I watched quite a lot of it on the Frog Pants Twitch, and I did watch some of the Angry Chicken live, and I posted in chat. I was like, do they know how hot their mics are?
We didn't.
No, we did
Yeah,
not.
I guess it sounded different in the room than
Yeah.
it sounded to us. But yeah, it was bad. I was like, oh man, I don't know if they could even turn this down and fix it, or if it's just because you guys were using like the type of mics I imagine flight controllers use when they're talking. You know what I mean?
That's what it seemed
It
like.
was like, Houston, we have a problem style mics, not podcasting mics.
So the issue was we had no way of monitoring it. The speakers we were using were like built-in intercom speakers about 20 feet over our heads because it was this giant conference room. And we were happy to have that because it was like last minute. We had 5 minutes basically. We were given like basically 5 minutes. Like, oh, we found equipment. Like, cool, this is happening. Just dart Terpster in the neck, drag him over, drag Justin, and that was it.
Yeah, it was
And
very seat of our pants.
yeah, that was the only way to monitor it, and it didn't sound anything like that through the speakers in the room.
Well, I imagine too, you guys were trying to make sure your voices were carrying on top of whatever the speakers were providing, because it's like, I know that room that you guys were in.
Yeah.
It's tall ceilings. It's just kind
And
of
it
like
was really long because they had all the dividers like open, so it
Sure.
was like the full length of that whole area. It was huge.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
That's what happened. I was really glad we got to do it. And I'm glad that at least the people who showed up got to watch it live. Had a probably a very good experience. I remember a lot of laughs. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I assumed you enjoyed it. But yeah, it's up on YouTube. I levelated it to the best of my ability. There was only so much I could do, but go check it out. Anyway, brings us to the end of this episode. Check out the back catalog of The Angry Chicken over at amove.tv or youtube.com/amovetv, which I just mentioned, where you can go watch the Nerdtacular episode. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Declan H., Peter Williams, and Michael N. To our patrons out there, I do want to remind you, there are a lot of declining payment methods out there, so if you have a patron account, if you're supporting us or any other patrons, hey, if you're out there listening, you're not a patron of the show and you're a patron to others, just go to your profile, check your payment information, because, if you get sent a new card, if it's out of date, it just goes kaput on our end. So go and give that a look-see if you want to keep supporting the show. We'd very much appreciate it. Follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast. Catch us live usually Tuesday nights at 4 p.m. Eastern. There will be an episode this upcoming Tuesday at that time, and you can find us on twitch.tv/amovetv because it's not banned anymore. And yeah, Dills, how about you, dude? Where can folks find you?
Twitter at Willie Dills, twitch.tv/Willie Dills as well. And I just want to let everybody know that there is a special tournament for patrons and subs of my channel that is going to be on the 15th of this month. And it is going to be, hold on, let me look at the thing again, the Old Gods versus Karazhan tournament. So this is going to be pretty fun. The idea, Medivh versus the Old Gods. The idea here is you can only use classic and basic cards, and then you can only use Karazhan cards and Old Gods cards. So no Mean Streets, no Nax, no none of the other, no BlackRock, none of that stuff. Just so it's like one adventure, one expansion, plus the classic and basic, and should be a lot of fun. And you have to have an Old God in your deck. Every deck must have an Old God in it. So
Does every deck
everyone's
have to
going to be
have
playing a
Medivh,
Yogg
or
or a Cthulhu or an Azoth or something like that. So it should be pretty fun. I imagine that it's going to be a very slow, controlling style tournament. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Should be tons of fun. So if you want to check that out, it'll be on the 15th. And check my channel to figure out how to become one of the things that you need to be to join.
Badass. Jocelyn, how about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays, as well as right here on twitch.tv/amovetv every Wednesday night for the Gamers In at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. I'm on Twitter at Garrett Art. Every podcast I do can be found at amove.tv. But if I have to point my spotlight at one specific thing this week, there are 5 days left on the Kickstarter for Embrace the Spoilers for the next season of Game of Thrones with Jocelyn and I. We are already funded. That's definitely happening. We're moving towards our stretch goals, one of which is to make Jocelyn watch the original Indiana Jones trilogy. So get over there, bit.ly/embrace the spoilers. If that sounds like an entertaining podcast to you, one of us, me, talking about Indiana Jones, having seen it so many times he has lost count, and someone else, Jocelyn, having just seen it for the first time and giving their impressions on the original trilogy. To me, that sounds very fun, but would be more than happy to watch 3 movies, record audio tracks, and also do an episode if we hit that goal. So check it out, bit.ly/embrace the spoilers. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to my 2 other hosts for getting together on a Friday where we typically don't to talk about this expansion that I could not wait to talk about. Oh my God. I'm so excited for this, guys. I can't even handle it. Can't handle it. Arthas better be a card. He better be good. And better be played in everyone's. I just want him to be the new Dr. Boom. I don't care. I know everyone else is like, I don't want Dr. Boom ever again. I want it. I want it bad.
Dr. Arthas?
Dr. Arthas. He's got a prescription. It's an undead horde coming for your butt. So that's
very specific.
I don't know, ghouls, man. Zombies eat brains, ghouls eat butts. That's going to do it for this episode because I'm getting silly and it's Friday and it's time to see Spider-Man Homecoming. Until Tuesday, have a great weekend and job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!